Hey everybody, ronarray here, and farming currency is probably one of the most important things in Path of Exile. There are a lot of farms at the moment, but in this video I wanted to share the strategies that I've been using on streams for some time and that been working extremely well for me and helped me farm a lot of divines. Despite its simplicity, it can net a very high hourly income from 20 divines per hour or even higher if your build is fast and strong. It requires a decent build to do that, but other than that there's no obstacles to enter, and you don't need anything. The setup is very simple and the selling process is even more streamlined, so there's no additional selling time. Let's go and I will be able to explain what are we farming and how you can make currency with that as well. So for this strategy we're going to focus on farming reality fragments, because at the moment reality fragments are pretty expensive. They go approximately like 100 kelsos per each and pretty easy to farm. We're also going to get some astrolabs, blackberries and a lot of conqueror maps in the process. And for that we're going to use Abomination for dedicated boss rush strategy, which can at the moment net a pretty decent amount of divines because it can be done very fast. So one of the most important questions is why exactly Abomination? Why, for example, not Fortress or Catarinas or any other map like that? So I believe that price for reality fragments is very stable and mostly going up because Maven is a very popular farm at the moment. And you can kill Abomination boss very fast because there are practically no stages, you just enter in, you're getting rid of all 3 of them and then killing the big one, and it's pretty much ended. I also think that Abomination has a tendency when Mirage spawning closer to the boss more often compared to other options, which can multiply your profit and also help you out with stuff like blackberries. I think we can do that strategy both fast and efficient. To do that, we will just need to take basic nightmare maps that working out for your build. I'm practically running all of them except the reflect myself, but you can make sure that you're not adding modifiers that you want to avoid. And you don't even need to roll them, just make sure there's no bad modifiers on them and run them as fast as possible. So right now at the screen you can see how I'm running that map in about 1 minute. So if your build is fast enough and there's no Mirage, you should be able to just finish them up in that minute and it should be pretty easy for you to do. However, you definitely will need a decent boss damage and a decent build in general. Everything else is just coming from additional bonuses from Atlas and stuff like that. You're practically just running Abomination non-stop, reaching to the boss while running through the whole map, killing it as fast as possible and exiting the map. So there's also a cool trick how you can check out if there's going to be Mirage. So when Mirage is close to the boss, there's going to be a dedicated line looking like a purple or even pink circle inside the boss arena. If you can see that, you can just go back, find the Mirage, restart and kill the boss in the Mirage too, and come back. So without the Mirage, it's taking like 1 minute approximately, maybe a little more with loading screens. And with the Mirage, it could take up to 2 minutes. So in general, in an hour, I'm completing about 28-30 maps like that, including the Mirages. And that usually should be the goal, to get about 20 plus divines in pure profit. Now let's talk about the Atlas and what we will need to have there. So in the Atlas we are blocking all the mechanics, so all possible mechanics should be blocked, because that will raise the chance for the Mirage to spawn on top of the boss. It's pretty important, make sure that everything there is blocked. So we're also taking all points for increased maps found in your maps, because that's going to help us out to get more maps in general. We're also taking Shaping the Skies, Shaping the Mountains and Shaping the World. Going up, we're taking all explicit modifiers possibly, just to get a little more quantity, and obviously Conquered Conquerors, Remarkable Relics, we're going for Remnants of the Past and Vivid Memories. Otherwise, it's just a very basic Atlas set up to maximize the quantity from effects And that's pretty much it. Since we are not using any kind of fragments, multiplying modifiers is not needed. The most important part for the Atlas is just blocking all the mechanics, because it will help us out with much more often Mirages. And mounting modifiers and going up for additional memory tiers, tier 16s, could raise your profit in general as well if you're going to loot more basic maps in the process. And we're also not taking any kind of altars, because we're not going to pick them anyway. In the end, you can run like either Exarch or Ether, both of them are kinda fine, but you're mostly going to get just invitations from that and nothing else. So now, let's calculate the profits that you can get in 1 hour based on my own experience and on 1 hour that I farmed the strategy today exactly for that video. So here is a Wealthy Exile calculation for the tab that I used after farming that strategy for 1 hour. I dropped 46 reality fragments and some blackberries, some maps and stuff like that. Wealthy Exile at the moment is giving me 22 divines breakdown, but I believe it actually should be higher than that, and there's a few reasons for it. First off, Wealthy Exile is calculating the reality fragment price as 88 chaoses. But at the moment, if you will just go in the game, it's going to be around 100 chaoses per each, as you can see. I think it will just need to update the price, because the price is fluctuating pretty much a lot. And there's also another important moment: Wealthy Exile is not calculating Astrolabs, which we are dropping by farming that strategy. And it's also not calculating tier 16's map properly, it's just calculating them like 3 chaoses, but at practice, there's a pretty nice thing for it, because we're practically dropping Conquerors maps, which are usually go approximately 9 to 10 chaoses in a bulk. And here's all the Astrolabs that I dropped, as you can see in the same stash tab at the moment. So with those changes, I think it's much easier for us to push higher amount of currency. I would say approximately you should make at least 20 divines while running it, but you can definitely reach for 25. So in my current example, if we will recalculate reality fragments for 100 chaoses each, and especially if you're going to calculate the Astrolab, if you're going to be lucky with at least one, which is practically more than the divine. However, there's also another important thing about the price that you will need to keep in mind. During that test, I did 28 maps, because just Mirage inside is pretty much free, and there have been like a lot of Mirages, so approximately 2 minutes per map, including the Mirage time and like loading screens time as well. So at the moment, you can buy Nightmare maps for approximately 20 chaoses. There's some for 19, but I don't really think it's easy to buy those for 19. Most of the time they go about 20, and there's a lot of them for 20 on the market, maybe for 21. So I also paid 588 chaoses just for those maps. And that's an important part that we'll need to take out of the profits. So approximately, based on the current prices with chaoses and divines, that's about 2 divines, maybe a little more. So even with Astrolabs and the stuff on top, I think I ended up with like 21-22 divines per hour approximately. If your build is faster or stronger than mine and can farm it even faster, you'll probably make more currency. But I would say that it's pretty safe to say that you can get at least 20 divines per hour if you can clear the maps in the same way that I do. So you can also do the same strategy farm at other maps. I believe that Ziggurat is probably the second best option, but you will need to keep in mind that unfortunately the boss fight here is pretty long, so you will never complete it in 1 minute, and it could lead to less profit. But there's an upside, so if we will look at devouring fragments at the moment, they cost a little more, so about 140 chaoses instead of 100 for reality fragments. But I don't really believe that fighting boss for almost twice as time is worth 40% increase in price. That's why I'm picking Abomination. And if your build is not strong enough to handle Abomination bosses, I recommend you to either look at the modifiers, or maybe you can try to do the same strategy at Fortress. However, Boss Rush is very profitable in that league, especially since there's a lot of demand for items from particular Uber bosses, especially such as Maven, because she's dropping exceptional gems, which are very popular in that league. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that video helped you out to make more currency. Tell me in the comments what are you farming, or maybe if there are particular farms that I should test later on. See you next time, and ronarray out.